In our final look at language, we will discuss both the loss and revival of different languages. Today, globalization, something that is so profound in our life, something that increases the interconnectedness and interdependence of people in all parts of the world, is leading to a loss in language. So as we become more globalized, as people adopt these common currencies, these lingua francas like English, we see that local native languages are being lost at a rapid pace. So by the year 2100, we're expecting to see about half of our current languages are going to disappear, as they are not maintained and reproduced by individuals who are adopting these dominant languages, these global languages, to replace the existing languages in their day-to-day lives. So this map on the screen now shows isolated languages, languages that are generally bound within individual communities. And you can see in the United States that we have some extinct languages that belonged to a lot of our American Indian populations. We could see also our purple diamonds reflect endangered languages. We could see in South America, Western Amazon into the Andes Mountains, a number of isolated communities are endangered or have already lost their pre-contact languages. Here in the United States, we see another map of endangered languages today, as groups, and most oftentimes American Indian groups, are isolated, and as the world changes around them, and as the United States becomes more globalized, and globalization and global culture infiltrate these communities, these pre-contact languages are at risk. A key example of an isolated language that is unrelated to other languages is the language that exists in the Basque region between Spain and France. This language is called Euskara, and this language has been able to persist. Now, earlier we noted that there was a Basque ban from the late 30s into the 1970s, but despite this isolation, this political, social, cultural isolation, the Basque culture has been able to maintain and reproduce Euskara. They continue to teach their children Euskara as a first language. It is the dominant language in culture, local politics, local business. And this group is relatively homogeneous, relatively isolated. So while the Basque region has had issues, often violent political issues, with France and Spain, as long as it maintains cordial relations, France and Spain have both granted the Basque region autonomy. So the Basque culture is able to persist with its own language. Now, political change, political preference, sentiment could change in France and Spain, which could play a negative role in the maintenance and reproduction of Euskara for the Basque community. But for now, this isolated, unrelated language is persisting, and it's relatively strong given the amount of obstacles that an isolated language faces. The next examples we'll look at recognize the revival of a language, or revival of languages. The Celtic languages that are found in the Republic of Ireland, Scotland, Wales, northwestern France, parts of Spain, these languages have been lost by colonialization. When the United Kingdom, when England colonized Ireland, they pushed out Gaelic. When England moved into and took control of Scotland, they pushed out Scottish language. Same with Welsh. So as a result, these Celtic languages were either lost or on the verge of being lost. But we see in these different countries, like Ireland and Wales, that we're having a revival of these languages. Both Ireland and Wales are recognizing the use of Welsh and Gaelic officially. Children are being taught Gaelic and Welsh in schools. And the media is now publishing information in these legacy languages, in these ancient Celtic languages. The example of Cornish, which is from Cornwall in southwestern UK, this language was actually extinct and then brought back in the 20th century. So these examples are rare, but it is possible to preserve and revive a language, even a language that's gone extinct. But it does take a large commitment, both culturally, which isn't an issue in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, but also officially. So giving it that official recognition, reintroducing it into legal documents and communications, teaching children at a young age to reproduce the language, and also the use of media to communicate to a large audience in these native languages. A second example is Hebrew. Hebrew, which has been gaining momentum since the mid-1900s, was basically a liturgical language, only used for religious purposes. But with the reintroduction of Israel as a Jewish state in the mid-1900s, Hebrew has gained dominance, has gained importance, has gained usage. So Hebrew in the 20th and 21st century has become a growing language, not just something that was saved from extinction, but something that is truly revived, something that is being adopted by more and more people, something that is being taught to a larger group of children as a formal recognized languages. So the strength of Israel helps Hebrew persist, both in the Middle East, on the eastern shores of the Mediterranean Sea, and also we've seen the growth of the use of Hebrew here in the United States.